The brightness of this day has given me the opportunity to bring you this video. Welcome back to my channel, Winging It with AC. My name is AC, and today we are going to be talking about nannies, hiring a live-out nanny. What are some of the things that you need to think about? What are some of the things you need to consider? Now, this is a video. This is like a video that is going to be in parts. So this is like part one. There's a big sister of mine that I had been planning to do this video with for like forever, but life is lifing, and so I decided that I'll just go ahead and do this part of the video. Eventually, even if I talk about everything, she has a wealth of experience, a wealth of knowledge when it comes to nannies, based on her experiences, and so I really do want to bring her on this channel so that she can also talk a bit more and shed some perspective on the things that you need to think about or look out for when you want to hire a nanny. So today we are talking about live out nannies. Now, who are live out nannies? Live out nannies are nannies who do not live with you. They come in to work and they go back home. They come in to work and then they go back home. Similar, basically, like similar to having a 9 to 5 job. Now, point number one, you need to consider where the person lives. I have had a live out nanny before. That was a nanny who took care of Ato when I had to go back to work. So a lot of these points are going to be based on my experience and also some of the things that this big sister of mine shared with me when we were looking for one. Where the person lives is a big factor. You cannot be living at Spintex and hire somebody who lives at North Kaneshi to be your live-out nanny. It does not make any sense because of the distance. So as much as possible, try to find somebody who lives within your vicinity or not too far from your vicinity. So say you live in Medina, the person could live in Adenta or could live in Oyarefa, could also live in Medina. I mean, it's close enough, could even live in Hacho, close enough that it's not too far. Okay, so you also want to consider that because these are our people. You know how Ghanaians are. Ghanaians are late to everything. So if you're not fortunate and you have someone who lives far away, then they're going to be taking public transportation, and they're not going to call and say, oh, when they get there late, oh, the car didn't get full early, and then this and this and that. So when the person lives close enough, it sort of takes away some of these things. Our nanny lived about, without traffic, her place to our place was like, I don't know, let's say give or take 10 to 15 minutes. But with some amount of traffic, especially in the mornings, it will take her like, I don't know, 30 minutes to get to our place. So where the person lives is something you need to take into consideration. Now, the next thing you also need to consider is what are the working hours of the person going to be? Is the person going to be coming to work Monday through to Saturday and have Sundays off, or are they going to be working Monday to Friday and then they have the weekend off? And if they are coming in Monday to Friday, whatever days you specify, even if you need them to come 4 days a week or 3 days a week, what are their hours? What time do you need them to start, and what time are they going to close? Are they going to start at 7 and close at 7 p.m.? Are they going to start at 7 and close at 6 or 8 and close at 5? You need to specify those times. Now, please learn from my mistake. So when we were interviewing our live-out nanny, we told her that we need her to start work by 7, so she should get to work by 7. Even if you are late, this is what we said, even if you are late, 7:30. Big mistake. She came to work very early, the very first day of work, like 5 minutes to 7. After that, 7:15, 7:20, 7:30, 7:35, 7:20, 7:25. And I used to get so upset because you're supposed to be at work at 7. So one day we finally sat down with her and, talked about it. And she was like, no, when we were talking, when we were interviewing her, we said 7:30. We had already done the damage, so we said it's okay. We're like, no, we said 7. Even if you get to work late, by 7:30, you should be at work. Somehow it's the 7:30 that got stuck and not the 7. So learn from my mistake. I would say that if you need a person to start work at 7:30, tell them you need them to start at 7. Listen, Ghanaians are always late. And then, for not to put anybody down, but in Ghana, for the people that we hire to be nannies, they're not going to come on time. So this is my advice. If you need the person to start at 8, tell the person you need them to start at 7:30. If you need them to start at 7, 6:45, I guess. I don't know, but depending on the hours you need the person. For me at the time, because I was in Ghana, or at least some companies in Ghana, when you resume work from maternity leave, you get to work half day. So some companies it's 12, some will have you close at 2, some will have you close at 3:30 or 3. So our hours were basically 5 o'clock. Okay, also because I wasn't working too far from home, so I knew that by 5, latest by 5:15 I'm home. But because of the maternity break period, I knew I'd get home earlier than 5. So you need to tell them what time you'll be having them close, and also explain that because it's a situation where if you're working outside the home, you'll be coming home, you may be late due to traffic sometimes. So I think you should try and factor that into their closing time, because even you, when it's your closing time and then your boss comes and says do this or do that or something based on your boss makes you have to leave the office later, sometimes you can be a little grumpy and snacky about it. So the same happens with them as well. So you need to try your best to stick to the time, the closing time, as much as possible. Now, point number 3, what are the person's job duties going to be? You need to specify that out. So we were hiring her for Ato. We didn't need her. We already had somebody who was coming in to clean the house once a week. So we only need her. We only needed her just to take care of Ato when we were both away at work. And at the time he was a baby. He was 3 months, 4 months old. Okay. So what are the duties going to be? So for her, we told her that we needed her to take care of him and everything that concerns him. So feeding him, the only thing she wasn't doing was bathing him, but feeding him and ironing his clothes and washing his clothes. The good thing with that is that we had a washing machine, so we would do the washing and then have her dry them, and then when they are dry, then she irons them. She was typically ironing like once a week, and then she just take one day and then iron everything all together. You need to be specific about the duties right from the start. Don't say that, oh, we need you to do this and this and this, and then sometimes maybe ask them when we ask you to do something. From other people's experiences, they can get nasty about it or unpleasant about it, so give you attitude about it. So be specific and as broad as possible. So if you're going to say that you need them to also be doing some cleaning, helping you with cooking, specify everything. If you're going to say ironing and you're not going to limit it to just the ironing of the child's clothing, and it's going to apply to you, the employer, add everything, but don't leave some out, and then when they start working you ask them to do this or that, and then they give you attitude, and then you don't understand why they're giving you attitude, and maybe later on they actually explain that this was not part of the deal. So you need to be as specific as possible with your job duties. For those who have very tiny bambinos, like 3 months old, 4 months old, I would advise that for a live out nanny, let the person just focus on taking care of the child. Yes, sometimes the child will be sleeping and they wouldn't have much. Oh, that woman used to sleep, or she was bawling. You find Ato asleep on the floor, she's beside him, she's asleep. But it's better that way than to say that, oh, we need you to do this and this and that. And you know how sometimes taking care of a baby can be. So by the time you get home, this hasn't been done, that hasn't been done, this hasn't been done, and then they'll give the excuse that, oh, baby was refusing to sleep, or baby wanted to be held, those kind of things. So I feel personally that it's easier if the person is just solely there for the sake of the baby. If the child is a toddler, then other duties can be added, because toddlers can entertain themselves while you're doing some work, right? And then salary expectations. Okay, so how much are you going to pay this person? Also bearing in mind the things you are expecting the person to do when you hire the person. Now, because the person is a live out nanny, you also need to consider, does this salary include transportation? Because if you say you're paying the person, let's say 500 cedis, and then you realize that even though they are in the vicinity, like not too far from you, their transportation alone is going to take up a greater cost. You may want to add transportation to the cost. So for us, for our live out nanny back then, we were paying her transportation. Richie was paying her transportation cost. So every week you would give her money for transportation for the week, her weekly transportation fee. You also need to decide, are you giving them breakfast and lunch? Are you giving them only lunch, or are they supposed to bring their food to work? So breakfast, maybe they can decide, okay, then when I'll eat before I leave the house, or I'll bring my breakfast along with me, or I'll buy some cocoa on the way, or you, the employer, you are going to provide breakfast items, so when they get there they can have breakfast and then lunch as well, or you're going to expect them to bring everything. And you also need to think about that in terms of the amount of money you're also paying them if you're not providing that as well. For us, our live out nanny, we were providing breakfast and lunch, and Richie was paying her transportation fare, and then we were paying her monthly salary. So these are some of the things that you need to sit down and think about and outline when you are going to hire a live out nanny. One thing I want to chip in there is, when you're interviewing the person, you might want to have your child there so that you can see how the person reacts to your child, see if the person tries to interact with your child, and then it gives you a fair idea of how it's going to be, and even see how your child responds to the person. Even though we know generally little humans, it takes them a while to warm up to strangers, but you just never know. So I have come to the end of this video, and I hope that these points were helpful. I will try to do a video on things that you need to think about when you're hiring a live-in nanny, because I didn't want this to be too long. And then some of the possible interview questions you can keep in mind to ask when you are interviewing a nanny for your child. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.